Hey everybody, this is me, the Middling Mage, and I'm here to talk to you a little bit about what we're going to be seeing with the rise of the MTG Arena. Now, MTG Arena is something that we've all been looking forward to for quite a while if we're into the Magic the Gathering community. But the question has always been, what's it going to be like? What are we going to see? And for those of us who've been in the MTG beta, we've been able to take a look at it. We've been able to get a feel for it, and we haven't been able to say much about it, but that all stops today. Today, you're going to get to start seeing some actual MTG streamers getting out there, some actual video content being created, and the question is, what are you going to see? What's it going to be like? And when the time comes for you to be able to join, what can you expect? So that's what we're going to be talking about today. Now, to help us to do that, what I want us to do today is take a look at some of the things you're going to see once you join MTG Arena. Now, one of the first things you're going to see is you're going to see that you're given a special collection. You're going to get a whole bunch of white and blue and black and red, green and gold and artifacts and lands, and the honest truth is, it's a smattering of content from a lot of different places, a lot of different types of cards, and it's a little bit overwhelming. One of the biggest problems with something like this is you've got to figure out how you're going to start out. And for a person who's not familiar with creating deck lists, which, let's be honest, is most of us, it can be extremely overwhelming to be faced with not only learning a new interface, but creating a new deck. And the way that Wizards of the Coast has decided to solve for that is they've created several pre-made decks using the cards that they're giving us all for free when we sign up. Now, in addition to that, we're also given 12 packs. We're also giving a number of wild cards which we can use to redeem cards of the appropriate rarities: common, uncommon, rare, rare, and mythic rare. But to start out, we're giving a smattering of cards from all across the color pie, from Amonkhet, Our Devastation, Ixalan, and Rivals of Ixalan. And here's where we've got to be a little bit honest. The collection is really scattershot, and as a result, the decks feel like bad sealed decks. They just kind of feel like a spattering of cards that sort of mate loose archetypes. Like, here's one example. Azorius Ascension. It's a blue-white control deck. It's all about getting Ascend, all about getting 10 permanents on the battlefield so that you can get bonuses, so you can get extra value. It looks pretty rough, honestly. I'm not entirely sure that I like it. Now, Legion of Dusk, however, is a largely Rivals and Ixalan deck, and it does well. I mean, it works as is. I mean, you're obviously going to want to improve it, and there are a lot of easy ways you can do that. But it's definitely a more appropriate mix. You get down to Boros Assault, you got a standard red, white, aggro type deck. It's all about just getting out there, attacking, and just keeping on getting damage in. This is where you're going to want to spend your mythics or your rare wild cards if you happen to get any mythics. Getting a Hazoret would really help this deck out. Even a Glorybringer would be something that would really help this deck out. But I think from the start, this would be a nice fun deck, something you can just kind of go out there and just play and just see what happens. I mean, you get some of the best removal spells in white and red, so you're doing fairly well. Is it spell weaving? Oh. This one breaks my heart. I am, at my core, a blue-red player. I love Izzet. That's how I kind of identify myself, is blue-red. My commander decks have always been blue-red. I just love it. And this deck breaks my heart. I just don't see how this is going to do anything. I could be wrong, and I'd love it if I was wrong, but I just don't see this doing anything. I don't see this going anywhere. This is definitely going to need a complete rebuild. I think you could probably turn it into a blue-red prowess deck pretty easily by picking up a playset of Lightning Strikes and Opts, picking up a playset of Riddle Forms, maybe another Chart the Course, things like that, just to help you filter through your deck and hit hard. I love that one rare card from Amonkhet, the Prowess 1-drop in red. I think that might help, but as it is, this is just really not going to do anything. Now, Merfolk were really strong in the last version of MTG Arena. And it was something that was really easy to build out from the beginning, because since you were largely an Ixalan, almost every pack you'd open, almost every reward you'd get, had a good chance of benefiting the merfolk. And it was a lot of fun. It either dominated pretty early or was just swept under the rug really fast. I liked it. It's one of the few decks that are in current standard that I've actually created a version of in paper. I really like it. I think there is some room here because there's a lot of valuable and powerful merfolks in common and uncommon. So I think you could very easily spend your uncommons here, buy up a few merfolk mistwalkers, and maybe spend any rares you have on a Deep Root Elite. And if you manage to get a mythic, of course you'd want to get Kumena. But I think that as a whole, this deck has a shot. It and the vampires are probably my two favorite. Now you get to dinos, and when MTG Arena started out, dinos really were powerful because there's just so much value there, and the pool they gave you had a lot of good dinos in it. But the problem is all the really good dinos now are in rares and mythics, and you just don't have that many. I mean, you want to have those rares and mythics to make this deck even really worth playing. To say nothing of your red and green ramp creatures, and I would say at least 3 Thunderherd Migration. So there's a lot that needs to be done here to make this deck actually playable, I think. But I think that once it's done, I think it's got a real shot. There's just not that much that can really compete with the size and power of the dinosaurs in Amonkhet block. You know, obviously you get your Hazrets, which competes on speed. You do get your Scarab God, which if he gets going, he's just going to take over against any deck. But I think that this deck does have a shot simply because we don't have Kaladesh block yet. We go down to the Brazen Coalition. This is a red-black aggro list. I like pirates. Pirates are very interesting. You get some really good free win spells in Pirate Cannonade against some smaller vampire and merfolk lists. But it doesn't really do much if you're playing against dinos. It doesn't really do much if you're playing with other large creatures. So that spell is good in some decks. It really is worth putting in there just to see it when you happen to have it drawn against a strong opponent. I mean, it really helps. But when you're up against large creatures, it doesn't do much of anything. I like the deck. I think that pirates are a lot of fun. But again, I still think there's a lot that needs to be done here. I think that it doesn't have as many good payoffs in this deck right now. So I think there's still work to do there. Now, blue-black Dimir Manipulation. This is a solid control deck. It's got some hand disruption. It's got some good creature kills. It's got some counter spells. I don't particularly care for it. I played a lot of counterspell decks in the last version of Arena, and as long as you can get up from, if you can get under them, they don't really stand much of a shot against you. They do benefit though from the 1-game matches, because since they only have a 1-game match, there's really not much you can do if you have a lot of removal spells that don't have targets, because this deck is largely spells. So I would say that this benefits from it being just a 1-game match, but I'm still not entirely sold on this particular deck. I do think that there's more room here for this to grow and for modifications to the deck itself. I'm not a big fan of it personally. I think that it just needs a lot of rares to make it a little more powerful. Now, Golgari Exploration. I love Explore. I think Explore is just one of my favorite new mechanics that's come out in recent years. It didn't excite me at first. The idea of sometimes getting a +1 counter and sometimes getting a land, I didn't like that. I didn't know what I was going to get. Sometimes I felt like I was going to get one and really needed the other. But the more I played with it, the more I found that both are good. Yeah, sometimes you really want a land, sometimes you really want your creature to be a little bit better, but drawing a card is always great, and being able to get your creature a little bit bigger than it would be otherwise is really beneficial. And having things like your vehicle that grows when you explore, having things like that creature that grows when you explore and also gives you 3 life. These things help to create inevitability. The Wild Growth Walker is just one of my favorite cards in this deck. Now, this deck really does need things like Jadebite Ranger to really take it over the top, in my opinion. But, of course, that's where you can spend some of your rare wild cards when you get them, and hopefully you will get a lot of them. I've seen so far what seems to be, if the initial stream from Wizards is any something to guide by, it seems like wild cards might be showing up in packs a little more often. We'll just have to kind of wait and see. I did notice this does have Walk the Plank, which I just think is an awful card. Because it just seems like I'm always drawing it when I'm playing against Merfolk, and it's just so painful. I would just rather pay the extra 2 mana for an Impale or a Chupacabra to guarantee I'm going to have some sort of a target I can kill. So personally, I don't care for it, but that's an easy modification. Chupacabras, of course, are something that you can easily spend your uncommon slots on. And the upside of that is that, in addition to getting the Impale, you also get a creature at the end. So that brings us finally to Selesnya Pride, which is green-white cats, which is just adorable. It's just a fun deck. I like the idea of being able to buy back your creatures through Embalm and Eternalize. I think that's really beneficial. I definitely think there's something here. I think there's something here with the with Anointed Procession is something that's already in the deck, but getting another copy of that so that you're not only embalming, but you're embalming and getting 2 creatures, or eternalizing and getting 2 creatures. Having your Crested Sunmare trigger and creating multiple horses is kind of really just snowball and take over the game. So I think there's fun here, but it definitely does need some more emotion, some more additions. So I guess what I come down to is the decks that I think are the best to start out with are going to be your Merfolk deck, your Heralds, your River Heralds deck, and your Legion of Dusk, your Vampires. I think those are going to be the best way to start out. They're the easiest ones to improve and get to a decent deck that you can start winning and grinding and getting some additional cards. So that's kind of where I'm at. That's what I'm seeing now. I'd be happy to see what everybody else has to say. I'm going to be very interested to see how things go from here. I think that this is really a wonderful piece of software. I've been very happy with it. I've been playing it every single day since I joined the beta. I love it, and I'm only getting to love it more as they've improved it and as they've made modifications. So I hope that once you guys start to get in there, you're going to find yourself loving it just as much. More than anything, I hope that you get the chance to just really enjoy playing some Magic. This is a great game. It's something that I've been playing for years, and it's something that brings me a lot of personal joy. So get out there, get the chance to play it, watch some streams, get a feel for the deck, and give Arena a shot. I think it's something that there's been a lot of negative press out there for it, but I just don't think there's a lot of founding to it. So I hope that you will give it a shot and try it out yourself, and hopefully like it as much as I do. Until next time, this is the Middling Mage, also known as Shepherd Wood, and we will see you at the table.